Welcome to Voices Unleashed, where we bring you powerful conversations, real stories, and lasting impact. Today's guest is Kelly Ritchie, founder of Evolve Breathwork and Ayurveda. Through her own life-changing journey, Kelly discovered the incredible connection between breath, nervous system regulation, and resilience. Today, she helps others move beyond stress and overwhelm to experience greater balance, healing, and joy. Kelly believes your breath is your greatest superpower. And today we're going to explore how something as simple as breathing can transform the way we navigate life's challenges. Please join me in welcoming Kelly Ritchie.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
I really appreciate it.
I feel honored to be here, so thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think many people may assume that they know what breathwork is. But first, there was a challenging, life-changing situation for you. Talk to us about that and how that changed where you went with your career.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful story, actually. And it, like you said, it changed my life. Back in 2017, my daughter Kira was in a surgery and the doctor messed up, left her in this, what they called a persistent vegetative state. And, you know, that was very, very traumatic, but I didn't get to grieve her at the time. I was a single mom, working full time, traveling 8 states. I was living in this highly stressful, traumatic state, but still needing to function, right? Mm-hmm. Function. Mm-hmm. And I was looking for something that would help me be able to process through that or basically exist through it. Mm-hmm. And breathwork came to me. The universe knew what I needed, I guess. And I was searching online, actually on social media, and one of the advertisements came to me. And I tried my first session, and from that moment on, I was hooked. I knew that I was onto something very, very powerful.
Talk to me about what breathwork is.
Breathwork, well, like you said, it's our superpower. So it's like a remote control that we have inside of our bodies that we can use to regulate ourselves, because the only thing in our autonomic nervous system that we can regulate is our breath. And depending on how we breathe, the pace at which we breathe, how deep we breathe, whether we're breathing through our nose or our mouth, the pace, it can switch on or off different sides of our nervous system, which are parasympathetic and our sympathetic. And our sympathetic is the fight or flight side of our nervous system, which a lot of us operate in most of the time. Mm-hmm. So to be able to switch that off and go into our parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest, where we can actually process through things, is very, very powerful. Now, there is transformational breathwork too that we can do that shuts off the frontal lobe of our part of our brain that allows us to quiet and process and allows our body just to do what it needs to do and release things.
During that powerful situation, and thank you for sharing that personal journey with us and that those moments with us, how did breathwork help you?
I was able to really think about what I was doing and where I was in my life and take a moment to calm and quiet, right? Because I had to go into caretaker, conservator mode. Yeah. I had to learn about things that I never knew I was going to need to learn about. Like all of her insurance and where she was going to live and medications and supplies and all of the things. And I was living just like, I was just on autopilot kind of, but I was growing so angry and resentful, that it was changing who I was as a person. So, what it means to me and how it helped me was to be able to actually come back to my center and come back to me and help Kira and still be a mom to my other kids and a grandmother and do my job and do all the things that I needed to do. She passed away in 2024, and that's when I really, really knew that I needed to change my life and do something different and bring this work to the world.
And you are now.
And I am now.
You are. How does that feel to be able to help others?
Amazing. Really, really amazing. I actually posted on LinkedIn today. It's this video of a dog, and the dog was so joyful. And I said, I feel joyful when? And one of the things that I said on there was, when I know I'm going to get on stage or I'm in front of a group or I'm talking to somebody and I know I'm going to change somebody's life. Yeah. So it's pretty amazing because for me, it's carrying on Kira's legacy.
Sure.
And it's helping people Because along this journey, I've met so many people who are dysregulated or don't know where their joy is anymore, or what direction they want to go in life, or they're at an impasse. They're at a transition point in their life, or they've suffered grief like I did. So it's just a tool and this whole system that I have put together to help people, and it's really an amazing feeling when you're working your purpose and your passion.
Yeah,
there's nothing like it.
So rewarding.
So rewarding. Yeah.
I know so many people have existing trauma that affects their lives. And many of us endure stress and anxiety and have long to-do lists. So life can weigh very heavy. How can breath work help someone with their everyday life?
You know, that's a great question. There are ways that we can breathe to release trauma that we don't even know that we're carrying. But then there are ways that we can in our everyday life just change our breathing pattern to help us calm or help our anxiety, or even help in some cases like upper respiratory things that are going on. And just to be able to give yourself that space to think about what's happening. We go on this fast pace so much that sometimes we can't process what's happening. We can't even think about what the next step is, or we're multitasking, brushing our teeth and on our phone and doing something else, right? Yeah. I know a lot of people do that. A lot of people do it. So it's really, really a great tool to have just in your back pocket for every day, that you can go, okay, I'm a little anxious right now. Let me do this breathing pattern, or let me breathe this way, and just come back to your center and your ground.
And I can speak from experience. Many people might say it's breathing, but take 3 deep breaths and it will change how you feel.
It will change how you feel. And I thought about this when I did the first breathwork session. I thought, they teach us this in childbirth classes. It's got to work, right? If they can get you through childbirth, they can pretty much get you through anything. But you know, a lot of people are very unhealthy in the way that they breathe too. So just being able to teach people how to breathe on a daily basis that's going to be more healthy for them, that's life-changing for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about breathwork and Ayurveda. What is Ayurveda?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I really didn't know what it was until a 1.5 years ago. But it is an ancient Indian medical system that goes back 5,000, 8,000 years. It's debatable. You know, nobody knows exactly how long, but it's still used in India today, and it's come over to the Western, the Western Hemisphere. But it's a medical system to teach people how to know their operating system. I'll just say operating system, what we're born with. And then when we're out of balance, how to treat that imbalance so we can get back into that state of feeling, where your mind, body, spirit is aligned. And, you know, a lot of times, again, goes along with the breath work and the everyday and the long to-do lists and the errands that we've got to run, we get out of balance. And it shows up in different ways, and learning how it shows up and what that imbalance means and how you can treat it is where I help people, because I think it's such a great pairing with breath work. If I can teach somebody to breathe and then maybe what to eat or treat the imbalance, it's such a powerful tool.
What does a session or workshop look like with you? If someone sees this and says, I need that. What does that look like?
Well, I teach Ayurvedic tips in my workshops and just online. You know, I give away free ones online. In a breathwork session, it's different. It depends on what we're doing. I have some that have a lot of binaural beats and bilateral stimulation and subliminal messaging where we wear headphones, or other ones where we move our body for that somatic release, because the body really does know what it needs to release. And there are other ones where we do maybe a little bit more meditation and then some grounding. So it's different depending on what we need to do or what the goal is of the session. But people can come into my studio. I can do it online. It's it's very versatile. So that's what I love about it too. If you were talking a little bit about the framework with me earlier, and talk to me about the first part of that framework and how it might help someone. Yeah, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but when last year, I decided I wanted to be a keynote speaker as well and bring this message to a larger stage. And I had to sit down and think about what the steps were that I took in my process after Kira passed away, primarily after she passed away, because that's when I really implemented the first step, which is pause. I had to put a pause on everything. I took time off from my job. I didn't socialize as much as I had. I didn't go. I wasn't volunteering and stepping up to do things. I put a pause on my life so I could sit down and think and really sit with the feelings that I had and evaluate what I wanted to do, what my passions were, where my heart was, and, how I wanted to live my life, because I wasn't living it in a joyful way anymore. I was just kind of on autopilot and being a robot and going through every day, just one foot in front of the other. And so that's the first step in the framework that I teach, is just pause, just take a beat, and give yourself that space to evaluate and think about what's happening.
We could all use that in our everyday lives.
Everyday life,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you were connected because of Kira's experience with a lot of families that are enduring grief, are caregivers. They're in different phases of having to take care of loved ones. I would imagine the breath work can help it in that situation, but in many other situations as well.
Oh, it doesn't discriminate, right? It doesn't matter what race, what gender, what ethnicity, what age, what socioeconomic standards, level you are. It helps everybody. So it's, I have met a lot of people, and that's where my journey started, was wanting to help other caregivers, because there's a sandwich generation. I met a lot of people in the facilities and the hospitals when she lived there, who were dealing with, just the stress and the trauma and the grief of having a loved one, whether it was a parent or a child or, a spouse, who were going through this. But again, you just have to kind of trudge forward. And I want to help people trudge forward in a healthy way, from a balanced state, from a regulated positioning in their body and their mind, that they can then make the decisions and go forward like that.
In the next few years to come, you talked a bit about keynotes. But talk to me about what your plans are, because you have something so profound to share with people, not only your experience, but now how you were able to see your way through. What does it look like for you 3 years from now?
Oh, gosh. Well, 3 years from now, if I'm, really looking at the big picture, I want to be traveling and talking on stages and bringing this, and also offering workshops to people who maybe aren't in those audiences, because it's such a powerful modality and healing and wellness modality that I have to share, that I really want to be working with corporations, because I know a lot of them have wellness officers now. People, when I went back to work, and this is where I had this idea, when I went back to work, because I went back for 2 weeks after she passed, and it was just too stressful. And there was nobody there who was trained to really help somebody who had gone through a transition or grief or trauma or anything, a house. Maybe you lose a pet. It's still grief, and it's still loss. And I had to just kind of pretend like nothing had happened. And when you do that, productivity goes down and your turnover is high and morale is low. And people spend so much time at work that I want it to be a place where people feel heard and seen, and are happy to go to.
Sure.
So that's my goal, is to be able to work with corporations and companies or groups, ERGs, women's ERGs, and go into their conventions or whatever, whatever event they're having, and talk to their people and teach them and give them practical tools that they can use.
For anyone who has heard this message from you, what do you want them to leave with? What do you want someone who may be listening to know about what you do?
I think you said it earlier that, your breath really is your superpower, and control begins within. So just know that whatever you're going through is not the end all be all. You can survive it. You've survived everything else that's happened to you already, and you're still here. So you can survive anything. And, you can build resilience, and you can build joy again, and you can build that balance and that regulation within your, by using your own body and your own tools that you already have. So.
Thank you so very much for sharing. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I do have a workshop coming up.
Yes, please do.
That.
Yes,
because you asked about how people can work with me and how they can. I have a workshop coming up July 14th and July 12th that I'm offering in person and online, and it's going to do and teach all of the things that we just talked about. I have Ayurvedic tips for the summer. I've got, we're going to do a breathwork session. We're going to do some grounding, some meditation, some intention setting, and then some self-reflection on maybe where the breakdown is or where you're feeling overwhelmed, where the capacity is kind of getting to its limits. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I really, really appreciate it. What you've shared definitely resonates. I think it will resonate with a large audience, that we have something within that can help us tremendously. And that goes a long way. So you're doing powerful work.
Thank you, Gina.
You absolutely are.
Appreciate being here.
Fully believe it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And to learn more about Kelly Ritchie and Evolve Breathwork and Ayurveda, visit kellyritchie.com, where you'll find her free guide, 5 Ways to Breathe Your Way to Expansion. And be sure to use the code Unleashed10 for a special offer on upcoming workshops. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who could use a little more balance, resilience, and hope in their life. Thank you for joining Voices Unleashed, where powerful conversations take center stage. I'm Gina Arcediano. Until next time.